Hey, Jasmine. I'm so excited to have you today. Thank you for
Likewise.
coming all the way from San Diego to visit with us today.
Of course, likewise. I tell you, I drive anywhere to come and hang out with you, and I think you know this. So
I know. I
Yeah.
know. It's been too long. We got to get together more often.
Definitely. If you guys don't know Ginger, and I know it's her podcast if you know her, but she is an amazing woman and an even more amazing person to just be in person with. So it's a blessing.
And likewise. Yeah. So, so we were teaching at a seminar a couple years ago and having a great time. And that's how we met, and we've been good buds since.
I say more than a couple, almost
5 years?
Yeah, a little
5 years
almost
ago.
5 or more years
5 or
ago.
more years,
My
yeah.
son's almost 15 now.
Oh, Lord. Longer.
So we won't age ourselves, but I've been around long enough to see what this woman can do when you put a hammer in her hand.
Yeah, right. So, hey, everybody, this is Ginger Faith, and this is my friend Jasmine Willois. And as you know, our goal is to help women to retire in 5 years or less. So if that's you, you come to the right place. So basically, we find that over the years, I've noticed that there are a number of women who 40 plus, all of a sudden they look and there's very little retirement savings. And we know that you can catapult your wealth by investing intelligently with real estate. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. And so we're here to set the record straight. One of the really cool ways of doing this is through note buying. And Jasmine is a professional in this arena, has been for many, many years. And so I'm excited to ask her some questions about what does it mean and how can you retire in 5 years buying notes, and what does that even mean? So let's start with this. What is note buying?
Yeah, what's so amazing is that it's just another side of real estate, right? So it's akin to what you do, and it makes sense to a lot of people who are doing flipping. So if you're out there and you're wondering what is note investing, it's really just that. It's buying the debt that many of us use to finance the purchase of a home, whether it's to flip it or whether it's to live in it. A lot of us, if not a majority of us, use loans or debt financing to purchase real estate. Outside of cash. If you use cash, then there's no note. But if there's a loan, that's where I come in. And after the note is originated, then I'm the person that these banks will liquidate and sell the loan to. And that's really what I want to make sure the audience understands, is that we can go out there and start capturing some of these monthly mortgage payments. So think about that.
So how much can a new investor start with? That's kind of a key point, because a lot of these women, they don't have a lot in retirement. Maybe they have a little bit in retirement, but they really want to grow that quickly. So what is, but you think sometimes flipping a property, you need, hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. What is the minimum somebody could start with and get involved with this and be successful?
Yeah, the funny thing is everyone thinks mortgage. They're like, oh my gosh, it's something I'll never be able to afford, to never mind just get to purchase a house, never mind buy someone else's mortgage, right? It's a daunting conversation in our minds. But when you take it outside and you have it with people like myself, we bring you to the attention that there are mortgages throughout the country at all different sizes, right? Mm-hmm. And so think about the guy who originated a mortgage in Arkansas 15 years ago. How expensive could that be, right? And so think about the guy who originated a mortgage in Wisconsin, again, 5 years ago maybe, right? And you can get access to something like that. So the loan values are going to range. I've sold mortgages as low as $5,000. So if you have someone who's purchased a loan and maybe they only have 10 years left, they're going to have a lower balance. So the purchase price is typically going to be based upon the amount of debt that's owed, and then it's some sort of percentage of that, right? And so just remember that there are people out there who maybe only have 5 years left on their mortgage, right? And banks want to get rid of that. Why do they want to hold on for the next 5 years? Maybe you want to collect those payments at the appropriate discount. Anywhere, again, I've sold loans as low as, I think this last trade we had some notes that went for $2,000, believe it or not, all the way up to, as you can imagine, there's commercial notes. One of the bigger notes I've done over the past 3 months was going to be for $250,000. So it can be all the way up to scale.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so something for everybody. Yeah, very cool. So when does the average client see a return on investment when they buy a note?
Well, what I'm going to talk to you guys about is the conservative side of this, right? Because there's, with everything, there's a riskier side of note investing and a more conservative side of note investing. Most people hear about the non-performing notes. That's the sexy side. You get a house, you get a note where someone's not paying on it, and then you will take the appropriate actions for foreclose, and now you have a house at a discounted price, sometimes 33 cents on the dollar, and now you can just see right how you can make the money. It's very clear. There's a lot of work involved with that.
Yeah,
okay? And you know.
Well, yeah. When I first met you, you were doing a lot of that.
Mm-hmm,
that was a while ago, and now you're jumping to another more conservative. So tell us more about that. That's interesting.
Well, what's funny is just that, right? So when we first met, we just talked about how long ago that was. So we've all gone through a lot of changes. Dare I say maturation?
Yeah, exactly.
And so as I get older, I'm looking, and I come into this where I want to retire in 5 years. Sometimes a non-performing note could take you 2 to 3 years to get through. Okay. So if you're looking to retire in 3 to 5 years, a non-performing note, for the most part, it's going to be a risky venture because it's hard to determine when you will actually get to the end of a non-performing note. There's a lot of things like bankruptcies that can be involved. People can reinstate, start paying again. There's so many different techniques to stall that timeline is less definite. And so definitely if you're young and you're out there and you're doing a lot of running around, non-performing notes is a good spot for you to be in. But if you're someone who, like you said, 40, thinking about retirement, look at what you have saved. And these are when you can put them in something conservative with some great equity inside of it that will allow you to collect payments. So to answer your question directly, if you buy a performing note, you're going to expect about 30 to 45 days before the payments start coming in on regularly. And that's typically because when you first acquire a note, the borrower sometimes has trouble remembering or realizing where they have to send the payment to, which is you now, right? So the next payment may go to the old lender, and they'll call you and say, hey, we have a payment. And then once the borrower's used to paying you, you'll get your payment. So I would say 30 to 45 days from a performing note standpoint.
Okay. So what about during a recession? How do they perform typically in a recession?
Here's what's amazing. Fun fact. This is why I love notes. I used to be a day trader. For those of you who know or do not know about it. Okay. So
we used to both be day traders.
So we know that market very well. So what I would tell you is that the amazing part about notes in a recession is that the fun fact that people don't want to tell you is that 90% of the loans out there, they're performing loans. They have no delinquencies. So when you think about it, only 3 to 5% of the loans out there are delinquent. The rest of America pays their loans on time. And think about the people you know. Think about yourself. The one thing you're not going to let slide is your mortgage, right? You're thinking to yourself, I got to pay my mortgage. You might miss a credit card bill. You might delay an electricity bill, all these things, but you're going to keep the mortgage over your head. So investing in performing notes is one of the most conservative and safe things you can do. During a recession, most people are going to do what? They're going to double down and try to make sure they keep their home. So again, I feel really comfortable in the space during recession times, especially if you have a note that's been performing. Worst case scenario, what you really run into is people have hardships. Right? And if you have someone that's been performing, that's one of the reasons why I like to be in this. So if you follow me, my philosophy is make money and go to heaven. Right? If you got someone that's got a great pay history, they've been paying their mortgage 5-6 years straight, all of a sudden they miss a payment. My investors, we typically use this for our retirement money. So it's not a national emergency that they missed. We want to get them on track. We have time to be graceful and give them patience to get back on track.
Wow.
And typically they
I've
will
never
do
had
that.
a bank ever
Bank
do
won't
that
do
with anybody.
Yeah. But
that's
if you have
really
us as a
unique.
bank,
yeah, I'd rather have you as a bank.
yeah. So it's a good thing if we go and buy your mortgage. It's not. Don't take it for granted. Oh, Jasmine doesn't want my payment. Oh, we want your payment.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that we're willing to let you get back on track. More open to getting in touch with the local resources that might be able to help you.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of mortgage repayment plans out there.
Yeah.
So we're going to do these things to get you on track, to get the money. We want the money still.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But we don't want the house. And so that's the main thing. When you're talking to the more mature Jasmine, it's like, just get those payments in for me, girl. We don't want the house. I'm not looking to take the house and flip it, although that, the equity's yours. So you should earn it.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. More importantly is that recessions, you're going to find, if you're in a good note, you're in an even better note because that person wants to keep their home.
Fascinating. This is really good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another question, are there what kind of different types of notes would you recommend for different age brackets and different types of investors?
Yeah, I think what we spoke about, if you're young, I would say 40 or below, you're going to do the flipping of the homes and maybe get into flipping of notes and do a non-performing because they really complement each other. Mm-hmm. Again, the notes are going to be a lot more passive, so that's what I would say, mix that in with your house flipping. But the more seasoned you get, and again, it really doesn't have much to do with age. It's really where you are. I know a lot of young people that are very conservative too, right?
Yeah.
And maybe use their energy elsewhere. So if you're the type of person and you're listening to this and you're like, well, I'm 23, but I want to work like a retiree. I got it.
Yeah, some people, a lot of young people right now are trying to travel.
Yeah.
They want to travel, they want experiences, right? So why
Let's
not set
that.
yourself up for a 3-year retirement, and then you explore the world for 3 years and then decide what you want to do.
Yeah, and the word retirement, that's what comes with that age kind of connotation to it, but really it's just about lifestyle. So I really want to speak to you, your audience, about lifestyle. If you're someone who wants to be an artist, I think we had that conversation earlier today, and a lot of these teachers, they don't pay well, right? If we are able to get more educated about debt and how it can be used for good, a lot of us working these positions that don't pay well, we won't have to worry about them. Yes, we can still live the lifestyle that we want without thinking, oh, it's because I'm a bus driver, I can't go to Hawaii or, Boca Raton this year. No. So the notes, what I would say is, if you're young and you're listening to this, start accumulating them slowly. Maybe buy one note here, $2,500 note, just to see what it's like. Get $100 a month in, right? Yeah. A lot of the people I work with, that's what we do for the children. They buy one note, let the kid know what they're buying, and every time it comes in, they'll give them like $50. Your note came, no paid. Next thing the kid, I have a lot of 6-year-olds go, I need another note, Mom. And it's like, wait, what about a job? I didn't think about a job yet. I just want another note because I need more money. They recognize that every month something comes in, they didn't do much for it, now they get to go spend.
Yeah.
So what I would say is, it's really about building yourself up and getting that habit of saying, I am allowed to collect passive income. It's something that's not odd for me. Because that was, come from my background, without getting that too much, that was what the real hump was, right? Me understanding that I could be a bank, I'm allowed to collect passive income. Collecting Ginger's mortgage is something that I can do. That sounds weird.
Yeah.
So once we understand that passive income is something that we can participate in, it's not just for banks, then I think that's the first step, and it's usually just by getting that first note.
Yeah. Well, that's what the Note Assistance Program is all about.
Exactly.
It's educating.
Just get your
people.
first note, see how it goes. You don't have to keep doing it. You don't have to dive deep. But what I would tell you is having this in the back of your tool belt is huge. So no matter what you're doing, debt rules the world. We know this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Debt's not going anywhere.
Exactly.
Every time look at the government, they're paying off the debt. Then they increase the debt. They have no intention of getting rid of debt. Let's be clear about that. Matter of fact, when the debt gets too low, what do? They run it back up again.
Yeah.
So debt's here to stay, and there's got to be a positive side to it if it's still here. So instead of us always being on the negative side, the paying side, how do we get ourselves on the other side? So once you start thinking that, then when you start doing your businesses, you may say, instead of taking cash, maybe let's do a note.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
So it's a mindset.
So it's a mindset.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be with mortgages. Maybe selling a car or selling the next horse. A lot of people are questioning. I mean, I live in Poway, so we have a lot of people. But if you have a horse and you're like, hey, I want to sell the horse, instead of taking a lump sum, the person doesn't have it, say, I'll take $2,000 and
And a note.
$200 a month.
$200 a month.
With a 4% interest rate, whatever the interest rate
whatever
is.
you want.
Yeah.
Whatever you negotiate.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you negotiate. Yeah.
And you start becoming a bank that way.
Well, we know the banks have ruled the world. So really, my intention with this podcast is to talk about how we can also be at the top of the food chain. Yeah. Right?
And what I would say is...
private money lending.
Personally...
Private money lending and note buying.
Exactly.
It's very
they're all the same. So with the private lending, it's like we would be... The only difference between me and what Ginger does is that when Ginger, and correct me if I'm wrong, I know what you do, but you go out, you find a house, and you might get a loan on it, right? So you're going to call
We'll get a loan, and we also get private money. And then we give them money back.
Private money is the same thing as a loan, so that's just a person giving you the loan, right?
It depends on the situation. Usually, we'll get passive people who want passive income. We'll say, let's just say we buy a house for $1 million, right? So we'll put 20% down. I'll put in some. My partner will put in some, and someone else will put in some, and then we'll finance the rest through the bank. Right. So then they get they get a return on investment. So they're private money lenders, and so they'll get 10.5% plus an equity position or something.
Circumstance, what's great is that they're also acting as a bank.
Right. They're exactly.
Yeah,
exactly,
so
and that's why I try to tell them, look, this is the way to make a living. This is like, you just the check's in the mail. The check's in the mail, right? That's that's the way to do it. I have some Airbnbs, and I've got private money lenders on those, and I'm so happy to give a retired lady the money every month. I'm actually excited, like, and I see the money going out, and I'm excited that it's going to her and not a big bank. So,
and it's a different conversation. It's a much more pleasant conversation than with the banks a lot of time.
Yeah.
And so just understanding that eventually you can take your money and put it next to the bank's money. That's what she has. Some investors that say, hey, I need to raise money. Whatever I don't have, I'll go to the bank. But if you guys can get it, then you're the bank. Right? Yeah. And you get everything.
That's how we can make money on our money.
Right.
Warren Buffett.
Because the bank's money is expensive, right? Sorry.
Well, yeah, and it's onerous and it's tedious and they're
unforgiving
and forgiving. Exactly. Warren Buffett said, until you learn how to let your money make money, you will never be wealthy. Right, and that's what people don't get, and this is really critical.
I think that, in essence, is what the note investing is. So let's take a few things and make sure we have an understanding. Do you need money to make money in notes? The answer is yes, 100%. Do you need your money to make money in notes? Not necessarily, but this is a note. This is a cash heavy and cash intense, and actually that's all we use. Some people use nails and computers in their job. Lenders, we use money. Mm-hmm. So the tool is money. So you have to have it. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be yours. Mm-hmm. And so if you find a project, right, then the money will find you.
Right.
No problem. If the margins look like good, then money will come. Right. Okay. If you have money and you don't have a project, then you're not doing yourself any good, right? You're sitting in a savings account, which you really know that you're not really making money. So you want to go out and find operators like Ginger, like myself, that you have built relationships that you can trust and have track records. You can go around and talk to people locally, because otherwise, then you're stuck to what everyone else has, right? So what I want to talk to you guys about the alternative investment space. We're going to talk about that tonight. Yeah. That private equity space. Private equity, alternative, those are two words that are used specifically because, one, they keep it private from the rest of the world, and it's an alternative to what the rest of the world has.
Right.
Traditionally, people like you and I, for many different reasons, have been kept out of those spaces.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So it's time to spread the light.
They want all the cookies for themselves. Yes, we're trying to give more people more cookies.
Yeah. So definitely say loan investing is a way. If you're looking to retire in 4 to 5 years, start getting yourself accustomed to that mindset, and then you will automatically see opportunities to give loans, and maybe now you can talk to Ginger from a different perspective, saying, okay, now I realize I might want to lend you some money.
Yeah. I'll give you an example. On my last big flip, okay, I was an investor and I was an operator as well. On my investment money, okay, I invested $225,000 and I got back $50,000 more on top of it. This is real numbers, right? Mm-hmm. So it's now in the bank because I haven't had another flip, and now we're looking for another one, right? It's in the bank, and so in the last, now I got $5,000 on the same amount of money.
Same amount of time,
do I
right?
want 50? Yeah, same amount of time, right?
That's
so it's
hysterical.
like, do I want 50,000? Or so this is why we're really emphasizing, if you really want to catapult your wealth, you've got to learn how to really intelligently invest that money, take that money and make it work for you, right? So.
And I would say it's a two-pronged approach, at least if I'm going to be very upfront with you as far as what we're doing behind the scenes, okay? As a note lady, I'm 100% investing in notes, right? But I'm also considering getting involved with her next project, right? And one of our mutually good friends who does apartment buildings, because I trust and know that she's been successful, I will probably take a few dollars from my next note deal and invest it with them to do the apartment flipping and some of the residential flipping. Two things. They're all in the same vein. Right, it's all real estate, so I'm familiar with it. I'm not doing Bitcoin, with no disrespect to them, but that's not my space. So if I'm going to give someone a Bitcoin, then don't get involved, kiss it goodbye, just pray it works.
Exactly.
Because you don't know what strings to pull.
Yeah.
She knows what strings to pull when it comes to flipping homes. I'll be happy to invest with her. Our other friend, multi-units, multi-family, huge places that I don't really need to be in. So I will invest in some hard real estate, but not myself, because as a banker, that's not where I want to be, right? I don't necessarily find the pleasure I used to, the time, or the interest in doing the Home Depot. I don't even have the eye that she has. If you've seen some of the things that she's renovated and decorated, you're like, get out of town. I don't have that talent. So knowing where I fit, I'm a person that's good at trading. Again, based on my background, without getting that too much, you're welcome to look at my website, jasminewillois.com. I'll tell you more about me, but definitely a numbers person, definitely someone who lives in the trade. So that's why note investing is good for me. But if that's not you, then like you said, you would say, hey, Jasmine, I have a $50 million fund that she might want to invest in. She might want to do a specific project. She may ask me to just build her a portfolio of notes, one note at a time.
Yeah.
And that's what I specialize in doing as well. If you have $300,000, you're like, Jasmine, what can I get out of this? The last portfolio I built, 300, I want to say 15,000 invested, 18% return, 11 years on this thing, and about $4,800 a month coming in.
Yeah, oh, that's beautiful.
That's amazing. And they don't have to do anything.
That's
it's just
beautiful.
passive income.
Yeah.
And our goal is, because of the coupon is about 12 3/4, so it's a huge, especially because we have right now. But think about this, guys. 4 or 5 years from now, and I'm an economist, so forgive me, I'm going to dig in for a second, but 4 or 5 years from now, what's going to happen? Interest rates are going to be lower.
Yeah.
So anyone right now who's in my school right now, they're understanding we're going to grab as much paper as we can at this 12, 13% rate, sit on it, collect 3-5 years worth of it. If you know the rule of 72, do your math, and then guess what you do? You get out there and try to sell it. You're going to get more than what you paid for it, because now the only option out there for people are going to be those 6, 7, 8% rates.
Oh, okay.
And here we are selling a 12%er.
Okay.
Here we're selling 11%ers.
Oh, okay.
That no one can get anymore, because you should have brought them back in 2023 when Jasmine was saying, buy them all. If you didn't get any, now you're subject to buying them from us.
Yeah.
Because all the new papers being originated at, 8?
Right. Yeah.
So it's an amazing way.
So now's the time.
Yeah.
To dive in. Yeah.
Especially if you know about the interest rates and you know, we've been around long enough. We know where it's going. They go up, they go down.
Yep. Very cool. I have a question. Do you can someone use their IRA and do a self-directed with
100%.
something like that? They can.
About 70% of our funds are used for that in our community.
Yeah, so if they're not making much money, some people have IRAs that are just kind of sitting there in money markets, they're not really making that much money, and so they can convert it to notes.
100%. So we work with companies like Quest IRA out of Texas. Any of these self-directed IRA companies that you can roll your money over to. They have a lot in California. I think Karen Hall, I'll shout you out. She's a good friend of mine. I haven't spoken to her in a while, but she's with You Direct out of California.
Right.
There's Atlantic, Mid-Atlantic out of New Jersey.
Yeah.
But there's so many of these self-directed places you can roll your money over to, especially after you leave a job. If you're listening to this podcast and you are not a spring chicken, okay, that means that you've had 3 or 4 jobs in the past. Literally, think, is there something I haven't rolled over? Is there some money sitting that I haven't done anything with? You roll it over to a self-directed IRA, get in touch with Ginger, get in touch with myself.
Yeah.
We can put that to work for you. And now you found money that you can invest in. They'll contribute to your retirement without taking money off of your everyday.
It's tax-free.
And then there's those benefits.
It's tax-free, and now it'll start working for you. So when you're ready to retire, you'll actually have something.
Yeah, and I like to, if you're in a job and they offer you company matching,
yeah,
right? Think about that. That's great. You want to take advantage of it, but also, how do you do your own matching?
Yeah, right, right.
So that's what I'm thinking of. It's like, okay, so you got them helping you build to save for your retirement. Every now and then, grab a note.
Yeah.
Because now that $300 a month coming in at $500, whatever that monthly payment is, and again, it can be anywhere from $300 to $2,500 depending on the size of the note. But that additional $300 coming in while you're sleeping, this is what Warren Buffett was talking about. Having your money work for you.
It also does something to you psychologically.
I would have to agree.
Yeah. You just get the one, and then you're like, wow, that was so nice. That was so easy. Like, I want another one. It's like getting a good performing rental, except there's no maintenance. And there's no toilets and tenants and termites.
Yes, it's like the Lay's potato chip, right? If you guys are old enough to remember that one, no one can eat just one of those potato chips.
Right.
But you're on to me. That's my whole thing. I just want to get everyone exposure to one of these. Take one chip, take one bite.
Yeah.
And then at the very least you can say, I don't like Pringles. I don't like Lay's. But you can speak from a place of, hey, this is why. Because it's not for everyone. If I can definitely just add that. Before we wrap up, it's not for everyone, right? As you just sat here and listened to me, it was all the stuff was in my head. It's all math, okay? It's all interest rates.
Well, that's what you're here for. It doesn't have to be for everybody. They just call you.
Exactly.
And you'll answer.
Say that again.
You've taken people who don't know anything about it, and that's what you do. You just educate people. So
exactly, I can educate you on that fact. It might be for you. A lot of you guys love what I'm speaking about, and you're into it.
Yeah.
But like she said, more importantly, we can't do everything. We shouldn't expect to do everything. A lot of us have households we want to take care of. We don't need to be missing on these opportunities. So like you said, if it's you still want to get involved with the opportunity and you may not want to wrap your head around all the economics or the actual physical interior decorating that goes on with the house, then yes, get involved with the operator like Ginger and myself.
Yeah. Now, does somebody need real estate experience to buy notes?
No. You know what's so funny? I love notes because when I first found out about them, I said, you know who's going to be best at notes? Women.
How so?
Because we are... This is an adult podcast.
Yeah. Not suitable for children.
We are the Mickey Fickies, okay, who take care of the house. We used to pay the bills for the dang house. And so there's no way that these men, and I've worked in Wall Street, I've been in these men-filled rooms. There's no way you can tell me that these men that I'm surrounded by are more familiar, should be more comfortable with this asset than we are.
Yeah.
And so that's why I want to bring as many of us in, because our intuition alone gives us, puts us above the rest of the people, the men, if I will, in this industry, if we just learn to trust it. Because again, we are the ones that take care of the house. Okay,
yeah.
So we know the ins and outs. We know what it looks like when the house is actually becoming, blighted. We know exactly what a mortgage looks like when and if it's going to not be paid or if it's going to be late because we're the ones paying it, right? We know how to tend to these things.
Yeah.
So naturally, if we just sat us down and taught us about the business side of it, 90 if not more % of the women catch on immediately versus me having to drag someone through it. If we trust our intuition, it's what's missing from the banking industry, if I can say that.
Women.
Too. Yeah, just because of our, you can do business from an empathetic standpoint.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you're not someone that's paying the bills all the time, if you're not someone that's at the house, maintaining the house, okay, then you might be missed when that person calls and say, hey, I need some help with this. My roof just got blown off, I might need some more time. So,
yeah.
It's no mistake where we are in the industry, but I think as we bring more women into it, we're going to see a lot of material changes that are going to be very beneficial to both the borrowers and the lenders.
Right. So tell us about your program, because you have been educating people and women about this for how long now?
About 13 years.
Yeah, that's significant.
I started about 15 years ago.
That's significant.
Decided to start training about 13 years ago. And like you said, all different backgrounds. You don't have to know about economics. You don't have to know about real estate. You have to be interested. I would say if you're not interested, this is not a place. Only because unless you hand it over to someone, understand that there are people involved, okay? So again, it's not like a stock. You don't like a stock, discard it, don't hear about it. There are people living in these homes, so definitely you want to have a different level of responsibility. But overall, 13 years, Rolling from Strong, we graduated some phenomenal people. We put out more women in this industry. As a matter of fact, so many that I think I'm getting on some people's nerves.
No. Well, maybe.
Yeah. Some people don't. They're frowning. But with that said, we've the program's been around for quite some time, and we specialize in the beginning in helping people with non-performing notes and helping them understand how to get that. We have since restructured, and our real focus is on helping investors, accredited investors, really understand the opportunity of alternative investments and then private equity. And we do that by having events where our members can come and actually sit down and meet the Gingers of the world. Last month, we had a Forex trader who runs a fund for foreign exchange. He came out and met with our people. So you can get to sit and know the operator and see if he knows what he's doing. But if you're looking to retire, what I can tell you is diversification is key.
Yeah.
So as much as I knocked Bitcoin here, if you know what you're doing, diversify. Maybe add a little bit of that if you know what you're doing, if you know someone who doesn't, right? So what I'm saying is that our goal is to make sure that we put our people in front of the right and appropriate opportunities that they can take advantage of so they can retire.
Yeah. And definitely notes that's one of them.
Yeah, so I'm one of the funds that you'll be able to get to know. I think I'll be doing the June event in San Diego.
Okay.
We have a meeting at the Alto Piano Winery the second Saturday of every month. And I buy a case of wine and just come by and hang out with me if you want. And we'll just talk notes or you can talk to the other general partner. I want to have you down next time you find a project and you want to do some fundraising.
Okay. Yeah, I want to go down.
Yeah,
love it down there. Yeah.
But just we want to get as many of us in front of people like you so we can really empower each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. So how can people get in touch with you?
855, I have a phone number, and on my website as well, so 855-541-6683. That's 855-541-6683. Then you can also check out my website at jasminewillois.com. And I would say that's going to be the easiest way. It has everything you need on there, like how to email and all that stuff. So Jasmine, my last name is WILLOIS.com.
Awesome. Well,
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you.